To set up class folders using Doctopus, what you need to do is go to a new Google spreadsheet in Google Drive. So here is a spreadsheet, and I'm going to go ahead and title this with the name of my class, just so I have this spreadsheet and I know what it is. So I'm going to call it like first period 2014 roster. And then what I need to do to run Doctopus is you're going to go up to the add-ons in the file menu, or in the menu up at the top of the page. So if you click on add-ons, I already have Doctopus here. If you don't have Doctopus, if you haven't got that add-on yet, you're going to go to Get Add-ons. And when you are at Get Add-ons, you can search, scroll down to find it, or you can just type in Doctopus. And what will happen is you'll see it, and since I've already installed it, I have the green button that says Manage, but what you would click on is you'd see a blue button that looks like this that says Plus Free. You'd click on that, and then you would need to confirm and say like, yes, I want to add this, or accept this, whatever it prompts you, just say yes. And then what will happen is it will now be in your add-ons menu. So I'm going to go back up to add-ons, and I'm going to choose Doctopus, and I'm going to launch my Doctopus. And it will take a minute, and what you'll see on the right-hand side of your screen, there will be a new menu that pops up for Doctopus. And it's taking a minute, it's still working. I can see that down at the bottom of my screen. I have this little warning right here, or a little pop-up. And here is Doctopus on the right side of the screen. So for a Doctopus, it gives you some information of what you could actually share with your students. For example, you can share Google Docs. That might be a blank placeholder, just a blank document that you want to send to your students, a name. You can send a worksheet, lab report templates, essay prompts, etc. You can actually send out spreadsheets, Google presentations, and entire Drive folders that might contain readings and other documents. And you can also send other file types like Google Drawings, HTML files, code files, etc. So up at the top of the page, I need to first select a roster. And right here down at the bottom, you are going to choose Build a New Roster. Now, when I build a new roster, I need to decide how I'm going to build that new roster. So I can select a method, and I can do it right on this sheet. I can import it from G-Class folders or from Hapara, which is the teacher dashboard. What pretty much all of you are probably going to do is on this sheet. So I'm going to click on this sheet, and what's going to happen is it will pop up, and it gives me some instructions here that I could read to tell me how to do this. But I'm going to click Create Roster. So that's step one. And if you look on the left side of your screen, it's now added in 3 different columns: first name, last name, and email address. If I hover over it, I get a warning saying do not change the header name. It is extremely important that you don't change anything in this first row on your spreadsheet. So now where it says first name, last name, email, this is where you would copy and paste the information for your first period class from your exported roster that we got from Infinite Campus. So I have that in an Excel spreadsheet over here. So I would just click on my first period, my first name, last name, and their email addresses, and I can copy, Control C or Command C on a Mac, and paste those into the spreadsheet. However, these are not actually my real students, so I'm going to put in some fake students that I'm going to be using here as my example, because I don't want to set up a folder and send out documents to students who I don't actually know. All right, so after you copy and paste your information from your spreadsheet for your class roster, what you need to do is on the right-hand side, it says go ahead, enter your class roster, which we just did, and then we need to refresh. And that is going to basically save these students as part of your roster. Now, up at the top of the page, I'm going to set a roster name, and it actually tells me that in these instructions right here. So I'm going to give it a name, so I'm going to call it First period 2014, 2015. You can call it whatever you'd like. It could be like biology 2014, 2015, whatever you want to call it is fine. Then I want to create class folders. And if I click on create class folders, it shows me what it's going to look like. So in my first period class, I have a teacher folder, which would be anything that I put into this folder. So it's just for me. So this might be where your spreadsheets and grading folders will all go. It could be your template documents you might put in here that you want to send out to your students. This next folder here is a class edit folder. So any docs you or your students put in here can be edited by all the students in this roster. The next folder is the class view folder. So anything that I put here as a teacher, all my students can view, but they cannot edit. Then the last thing that we have are the student folders. And here, this folder is visible only to the teacher, but it creates folders for each of the students in my class. And so anything that the student puts in that folder is shared already between me and that student. And so when you're creating documents using Doctopus to send out to students, it will go into these assignment folders that the students have. So I'm going to, you could go down and read the directions here, but I'm going to go ahead and press create and share folders. And you can see that it added 2 new columns to the spreadsheet, column D and column E. And as it starts creating the folders, it's going to put a folder key in there. And basically the key is the identification for that folder. And you can see that it started to pop up right here. And we'll have more of them. Now, sometimes if you are running more than, let's say, 40 of them, it might time out on you and not create folders for those students. So you might need to go back up into add-ons and Doctopus and set up and go back to step 2 and click create and share folders for it to finish. But in my class, it says I successfully saved the roster first period and it created these folders for me. Now at this point, I can continue on to step 3 and on, and that would be creating actual documents that I want to send out to my students. But let's say in my first period class, it's actually the same document that I want to send out to my second period class. I'm still going to create rosters for each individual class first, but then later I'm going to go and send out documents to my students. So now that I've actually created these folders to set this up, which you only have to do once, I'm going to stop right now and get out of this spreadsheet because I've created the folders that I want for this class. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to now set up my second period roster. So we need to go to a new spreadsheet. And we're going to do the exact same process again that we did with our first period class. So I'm going to title the spreadsheet, second period, 2014, and then I'm going to go up to add-ons. Notice that Doctopus is already here, and we can launch Doctopus. And on the right-hand side, we're going to select our roster. And you can see our first period class is here, but we want to build a new roster for second period. So I'm going to choose build a new roster. And the method I'm going to use is on this sheet. And it's going to create the 3 columns for me where I can copy and paste the information from my students after I press create roster. So here are my 3 columns. And in this case, I'd go back to my spreadsheet in Excel that I exported from Infinite Campus, but I'm actually just going to use the same 3 students here, or 4 students. I'm going to go back and I'm going to paste these in. Now I need to press refresh, and then I'm going to give it a name. So second period 2014, 2015, and I want to create class folders for this class. I'm going to press create and share folders. It's going to give me my 2 new columns, and it's going to take a minute to create these folders for my students. And I can see that it has now created folders for all 4 of the students in this class. The little thing is still spinning over here. It will take a minute for it to finish up. All right, so now I have created folders for each of the students. And so now I will continue this process by creating new spreadsheets, and I would do this for all of my classes. In the next video, I will show you how to edit these rosters if you have any changes in your classes, and also how to send out documents to your students.